27 years of ministry ended in a single email sent out on a Friday evening. Senior Pastor Don Williams and his wife Ginny Williams are out at Pawley's Island Community Church, effective immediately. Academy Director Nikki Howard is out. Several elders have stepped down. No live services this weekend. Just a recording posted online Sunday morning. This comes 4 days after Warren Spence Perry, a registered SO who volunteered on that church's campus for years, was arrested for violating his probation, and it comes the same day the church and school were hit with a $25 million lawsuit, alleging leadership knowingly let Perry near young ones. In this video, we're breaking down the resignation email, the new details buried in the sheriff's incident report, and why one document signed back in April may end up mattering more than anything said in last week's congregational meeting. In an email to Pawley's Island Community Church staff that we have obtained, the church announced it has accepted the resignations of Senior Pastor Don Williams and his wife, Guest Services Director Ginny Williams, effective Friday. The two spent 27 years with the church. As for the church's school, Pawley's Island Christian Academy, it will now be seeking a new director, as the church has also accepted Nikki Howard's resignation. The church also announced that several elders have decided to step down. The email stated, "Over the past several days, our church has found itself in a season of crisis. We recognize the concern, confusion, and hurt that many are experiencing as a result of decisions that have called into question the integrity of our church and its leadership. We want you to know that we see these concerns, we share the weight of this moment, and we are committed to moving forward with humility, honesty, and faith. As an immediate step, changes have been made within our leadership, and the church has accepted Pastor Don Williams and Ginny Williams' resignation. We have also accepted the resignation of Nikki Howard, director of Pawley's Island Christian Academy, and several elders have decided to step down from their roles. While this marks a significant transition for our church family, we believe with confidence that God is neither surprised by this moment nor absent from it. He has already gone before us, and we trust that He has a purpose and a plan for the days ahead. Though this season may be difficult, we move forward with great hope and assurance, believing in God's direction, His sovereignty, and His perfect will. As the staff and elders work through the transition, we are confident that He will guide our church faithfully into this next chapter. Pawley's Island Community Church has been, is, and will continue to be a place of refuge, hope, and light in our community. That mission remains unchanged, and we trust that God will continue to use this church to proclaim His love and serve others for generations to come. Given the nature and timing of this week's events, we will not be holding live services on campus this weekend. Instead, a recording will be made available online at 9 a.m. on Sunday, where we will share additional information and provide further details about the days ahead. In the meantime, we ask you to continue praying for our church, our leaders, our staff, and our entire community. Pray that God would bring healing where there is hurt, wisdom where decisions must be made, unity among His people, and that He would accomplish a tremendous work of ministry through Pawley's Island Community Church for generations to come. Thank you for your grace, your prayers, and your faithfulness. We trust the Lord to lead us, sustain us, and accomplish His purposes as we walk forward together. 4. The email doesn't name Warren Perry once. It leans on language like season of crisis, and never spells out what that crisis actually was. A convicted SO working as a school custodian for years while leadership stayed quiet. That's a notable choice of words for an institution built on the idea of confession. The congregation gets talk of humility, healing, and God's sovereignty. What they don't get is a written acknowledgement of what actually happened. The email included a personal message from Don and Ginny. Their personal note frames their exit as necessary for the church to heal, and describes staff as caught in the middle of a difficult week. After 27 of the most wonderful years of our lives, Ginny and I are stepping down from our positions at Pawley's Island Community Church, effective today, July 17, 2026. In light of the events of this past week and the concerns surrounding the church, we believe resigning is necessary so that PIC can begin healing and moving forward. PICC is blessed with an amazing staff that serves as the backbone of our church family. Our staff was unfairly caught in the crossfire of this past week. They are dedicated, Jesus-loving, energetic leaders that are committed to rebuild this ministry. Please continue to pray for them and their lead. Let's all be lifting PICC and PICA up to the Lord for Him to do a work of restoration. It may not feel like it today, but the best days for PICC, PICA, and you, the congregation, are still ahead as we continue to show love in the image of Jesus Christ. Notice what's absent. There's no apology directed at the parents, the teachers who raised alarms and got pushed out, or the young ones who were encouraged to interact with Perry directly. Georgetown County Sheriff Carter Weaver reacted to the developments and said he is aware of the resignations, but they do not affect the investigation. I am aware of the resignation of Pastor Don Williams and his wife Ginny, following the discovery that the church knowingly allowed convicted S.O. Warren Perry to work at Pawley's Island Community Church, despite the fact that a daycare and school existed on site. I understand that the director of the Pawley's Island Christian Academy, PICA, Nikki Howard, has also resigned. These resignations mean nothing with regard to the ongoing investigation of the church, allowing a S.O. to be in close proximity with young ones at the church school. My agency continues to gather evidence and conduct interviews at this time. The media and public will be updated on the progress of the investigation during a press conference on Monday afternoon. Sheriff Carter Weaver made sure that framing didn't stand unchallenged. He confirmed he's aware of the resignations, then stated plainly that they carry no weight in the ongoing investigation. His office is still gathering evidence and conducting interviews, with a press conference scheduled for Monday. Translation: resigning from a pulpit is not the same as being cleared of anything. This is where the story stops being about vague restrictions and starts being about a documented paper trail. According to the sheriff's incident report, it was a concerned parent who called deputies on Monday. That report confirms Perry had told his probation officer he volunteered at the church, but never disclosed that the church also operated a school. When investigators contacted South Carolina Probation, Parole, and Pardon Services, the agent confirmed the same thing. Perry never mentioned the school either. Here's a detail that deserves its own segment. The state SO registry has no field for volunteer positions, so Perry's status was logged in a separate system called Offender Watch, publicly listed as a volunteer position at the church. Whether that gap in the system was something leadership understood and leaned on, a second complaint tells us something worse. A teacher at the school confronted administration directly about Perry's presence. According to the report, she was told Perry had rehabilitated himself, and that judging him was not a Christian thing to do. After raising that concern, she was effectively forced out of her job. Let that sit for a second. The one staff member on record challenging leadership to their face lost her position. Meanwhile, the report says students were regularly interacting with Perry, drawing him pictures, giving him gifts. And there's documentation of a school auction, where a young one could bid to spend a workday assisting the two campus custodians, one of whom was Perry. That's not a church that was managing a quiet risk in the shadows. That's a church that normalized his presence for the young ones themselves. In a statement, Scott Hawkins, with the South Carolina Department of Probation, Parole, and Pardon Services, said Perry was approved to volunteer at the church, based on a clean supervision record and character witness statements provided by Pastor Don Williams himself. Perry was explicitly instructed during regular agent supervision meetings to not engage in direct contact with young ones while performing his volunteer duties. On 7/13/26, the South Carolina Department of Probation, Parole, and Pardon Services received a call from Georgetown County Sheriff's Office stating that a complaint was received that Mr. Perry was seen at Pawley's Island Christian Academy. PPP swiftly investigated and arrested Perry for giving his agent untruthful reports and not refraining from contact with young ones. Read that again. It wasn't a case of a pastor discovering a registered offender already embedded in his church and quietly managing the situation. Williams appears to have actively vouched for Perry to the state, helping clear the path for his presence on a campus that houses a daycare and a K-2 school. The agency also confirmed Perry was explicitly told, in supervision meetings, not to have direct contact with young ones while volunteering. He was arrested for lying to his agent about that contact and for violating that no-contact instruction. He posted a $50,000 bond on Wednesday and still faces a court hearing, where a judge will decide the consequences of that violation. So the chain here isn't ambiguous. A pastor vouched for a convicted offender's character. The state approved supervised access based partly on that vouching. The offender then had years of unsupervised, documented contact with young ones on that campus, right down to gift exchanges and a paid auction slot. Now to the detail that's generating the most conversation online, and the one investigators will almost certainly want answered directly. In April of this year, Perry legally named Ginny Williams as his power of attorney, with Don Williams listed as the backup. That document gives the Williamses the legal authority to handle Perry's finances, receive checks on his behalf, pursue legal claims for money owed to him, and manage real estate, all without needing to post bond. This wasn't casual pastoral care. This was a formal legal and financial relationship, quietly established months before any of this became public. There's a theory circulating in community posts that Perry, given a lengthy prior career in tech and pharmaceutical compliance, may have set up this arrangement as a financial safeguard, someone he trusted to keep his accounts and property managed in case his probation situation escalated. We want to be clear, that explanation is speculation right now, not a confirmed fact. But confirmed or not, it doesn't change the more basic problem. Whatever the reason Perry sought it, the pastor and his wife accepted a formal role managing a convicted S.O.'s money and legal affairs, while that same offender had ongoing access to young ones at their school. A resignation email full of scripture and soft language is not the same as answering the questions this community is owed. Who signed off on Perry's access to a school full of young ones? Why a teacher who raised the alarm lost her job, while the man she was warning about kept his? Why the senior pastor was personally vouching for a convicted offender's character to state probation officials? And why that same pastor's wife accepted formal legal control over that offender's finances months before any of this came out publicly. Sheriff Weaver has made it plain. The resignations don't close this case. Monday's press conference should tell us whether anyone beyond a pulpit is going to answer for what happened on that campus. We'll be covering that press conference as soon as it happens. Subscribe so you don't miss it, and drop your take below. Does a resignation letter full of God's sovereignty language settle anything for you, or does accountability require more than that? This has been a breaking update from Anointed TV.